A lot of people are talking about this situation, which I'll give you a TLDR of right now, and we'll go into further detail about in this video. The TLDR is essentially, to my understanding at least, some lady on TikTok made a video where she was essentially saying that MAPPA uses AI for their animations on some level for specific scenes, which she tried to outline in her video. And that then got a lot of people to share her video on TikTok and then on Twitter. And a lot of people then began to get upset at MAPPA for allegedly using AI in these scenes. However, as this began to spread more and more, other people found it and began to refute her claims, saying that she was wrong and that that MAPPA did not use AI in those scenes. And it was actually something for like a broadcasting rule that had to be followed. So then she got a lot of backlash for spreading alleged misinfo and apparently deleted her entire video, although some say it's set to like friends only or something. And then she issued like a 10-minute response video. Next, I'll show you all the fine details, play the clips and stuff like that so we can take a look at what she actually has to say about all this. And let me take a minute to thank you all for the recent support. Glad you've been enjoying the segments and I hope you enjoy this one too. If you do, consider liking and or subscribing for more segments like this every day. Now let's take it from the top. In a tweet with over 3,800 likes and over 5 million views, we have a fact check. We'll get to that. But first, the tweet reads, and this is like one of the ones that really kicked this all off, says, "If you guys are wondering why MAPPA changed some things, this very smart woman explains it perfectly. To sum it up, she spoke to an animator, and it all boils down to budget, AI, and time. Also, the ghosting this season is because of AI." Here's like the first clip, 39 seconds. Let's go.
So why did MAPPA change these iconic angles from the manga panels in Jujutsu Kaisen's new episode? After speaking with an animator and doing a lot of research on animation, it's looking like it boils down to budget, AI, and time. To my surprise, I learned that AI is very much a part of MAPPA's animation as well as other major studios' animation. For example, this screenshot right here, this is not a hand-drawn in-between frame. You can kind of see how it looks transparent. This is AI kind of filling in the gaps to save animators time. Here's another example. We all know that MAPPA and other animation studios are notorious for absolutely overworking their... So why did
Okay, it's looping, so we'll cut it there. Let's return to the OP real quick. So for anyone who may be confused, I believe the OP was kidding around here. They were being like facetious with their words and stuff, being ironic, making some jokes and saying it's like a very smart take and the, talk to an animator all boils down to budget. Ooh, so yeah, the kidding around with the emojis, etc., etc. You can see more of that here. This person says, baiting or stupid. OP says she's serious. There's no way, bro. I don't believe it. That's so embarrassing. Someone else is like, why is that embarrassing? OP's like, because she's incredibly wrong. We also got Chibi Reviews laughing at this situation, responding to the OP who further laughs. Chibi's like, bro, she got like 10,000 likes on the video. I'm dying. OP says she had 13,000 before she made it private. Bruh. Let's get to the fact check. So it says, readers added context they thought people might want to know. The ghosting effect in question stems from an effort to prevent epileptic seizures and is a required standard for Japanese television. It's not the result of image generation via neural network artificial intelligence. To be fair, we should probably see where the fact check is getting their information, and they cite this Reddit post from 5 years ago, so make of this what you will, but it does read. What is ghosting? I just watched Anime AJ's video on why episode 65 of Boruto looks so good, and he mentioned that weird effect that happened when Momoshiki yelled all the ninja tools away was called ghosting. It happens a few other times too, I think. When I first watched the episode, I thought it was weird too, but I've learned to trust when animators make a decision, usually it's for a reason. So could you guys tell me why ghosting happens and what it is? Thanks. And this response saying, yeah, it's blurred frames, a broadcast requirement for intense action scenes with lots of flashing objects. Another one is when an action sequence is dimmed. Here's a post in relation to your example, including the DVD version of the scene with no ghosting, which links to another Reddit thread, which eventually links to this tweet, which includes part of the fight. Tweet reading Naruto and Sasuke vs Momoshiki from Boruto 65 DVD version, aka no frame ghosting effects. It looks so much better. Now why don't we return to our trusty advisor here who's got friends in MAPPA and knows so much about all of this animation stuff and certainly is not wrong about any of this, right?
Hey guys. So a lot of you had a lot to say about my recent video. So taking some time this evening to go over a couple comments, questions, and concerns. I'm going to try and address all of these questions in one video, so it's going to be kind of a long one, but stick around. But first things first, I want to reiterate that in no way is MAPPA a bad animation studio, nor was it ever said in my last video. The video that I made and many of the manga readers are talking about is the differences between the anime and the manga, and why manga readers in particular feel that the manga just did it a little bit better. Us saying that the manga did it a little better doesn't mean that the anime was bad. Okay, so we got that. Okay, cool. Moving on.
The thing is, I don't think most people are talking about that apparent claim. They're talking about what she had to say regarding MAPPA and AI, so it's kind of a different argument.
Second thing I want to address are my resources. I went over it briefly in the last video, again, trying to keep it within 3 minutes, but I have been speaking directly with an animator that's been studying animation, doing animation for the past 10 years, who studied at RISD, and also been watching a lot of content and a lot of educational information from animators in the business and animators that are talking about how AI and AI tools are being utilized in 2D animation.
All right, let's stop again. To be fair to her, according to my recollection, she didn't say that the animator she was talking to was a MAPPA animator. However, it does seem like the general consensus, or the way most people interpreted what she said, was that she was in talks with a MAPPA animator, given her presentation on, the topic and how she introduced the animator and all that. It's pretty easy to see how some people may have misunderstood that. But I guess she's clarifying now that she wasn't actually talking to a MAPPA animator. It was an animator with those other qualifications that she outlined. So make of that what you will.
That does not mean, nor was it ever said, that whole shows, I am speaking specifically about Jujutsu Kaisen right now, are completely being done by AI. They are absolutely not. They are still being done mostly by hand by very talented animators. They are using software and tools, including AI, to help speed up the animation process and save time. This can involve things like using AI or programs to help with in-between frames, developing backgrounds, obviously 3D CGI. Think about Attack on Titan, it was in Chainsaw Man, it was in the last episode of Bleach. CG is another way that animators save time by not having to draw things by hand.
I gotta stop again, guys, because I listened to her go on for about another 5 minutes from this point on, and then I had to stop listening. It was just becoming a bit of a burden to listen to, because she goes off on, in my opinion at least, all these side tangents. And I'm not saying she's wrong in what she's saying. Some of it she might be. I don't know. I'm not an animator. So I'm not saying she's wrong. But the issue is, she's going off on all these other things when these aren't really the things people are talking about, the things people are taking issue about in her prior video. The main thing people took issue with is simply the premise that she apparently accused MAPPA of using AI in specific scenes when they apparently were not. But she doesn't even address that until like halfway through the video, and then even that she pretty much addresses, in my opinion, in a rather convoluted way. So I tell you what, I'll save you guys like 5 minutes of time listening to her go off on all this other stuff, and here's the main issue when she finally addresses it.
The next point are all the comments about the animation having to be changed because of seizures, something with Japan's broadcasting laws, and that when it gets released on Blu-ray that they'll change it to not have AI. So in 1997, an episode of Pokemon released involving Porygon. Basically, it caused like over 700 seizures in children. So what Japan did is that primarily for children's shows, they kind of put like a disclaimer in the beginning of shows, kind of like how you'd see like a flash warning, basically saying, warning, like this show might contain flashing or whatever, to be mindful of, people with medical issues and seizures. Now, I did see the Twitter thread and I saw Dietz's comments. Dietz, thanks so much for commenting your input on that. I really appreciate it and I learned a lot. So ghosting, and I'm going to read from my notes here to not mess this up. Ghosting is when you have a frame that has a ghost or like an onion skin of the previous frame. It can be the result of using AI or frame interpolation gone wrong. It's never hand-drawn. In regards to the seizures and what Dietz was talking about, there's a tool called PEAT. It's kind of used to diagnose to see if an animation has a risk of causing seizures. It takes into account the speed of the light, the brightness of the light, the colors like red.
Personally, for me, that's where I dipped out. I did not listen to any more of her video from there. It was just, like I said, you don't have to agree with me, but I found her responses to be extremely convoluted. Like, I tuned into her video to listen to her give her actual response, not have her read a bunch of stuff that she looked up online, Like, it seems like she's really trying everything she can to not just say that she was wrong on this one. But I'll give her a little bit of credit, too. I mean, at least she's not being nasty about this or pulling some sort of angle where she's like, oh, all the weaves are just misogynists or whatever, like we've seen people do time and time again. So at least there's that, I suppose. That said, hopefully she can understand why accusing one of the most notoriously overworked animation studios of using AI when they aren't might get her some backlash. Finally, she would also add this, saying, thanks for everyone's feedback. If I missed anything, please comment. Thanks. As a note, any comments that are just blatant insults, trolls, provide no constructive information are going to be removed. I'm more than happy to engage in constructive discourse with new info not previously addressed. I want this to be a safe space for debate, not ignorant name calling. Well, I mean, hold on. I gotta ask a question on that though. Like, would simply saying you're wrong be considered not providing constructive information? Like, would that be grounds for removal? I don't know how she's defining some of that stuff. We'll end with this tweet with almost 2,000 likes that says, from Ponotaku, anime going mainstream and its consequences has been a disaster for the human race. Responses like, anime used to be fun when only quote unquote freaks were into it. I was so ticked when I heard anime went mainstream because that means it needs to be fixed for audiences. Can I go back to early 2000s and just watch nice series while people called me a freak for watching cartoon characters? I like that time. Yeah, I think anime being so mainstream these days has brought a lot of bad things with it, and I'd prefer for anime to not be so mainstream personally. And some people will say like, but that just means there's less acceptance for being an anime fan. Well, my response is good. I don't need their acceptance anyways. However, I don't want to get into a whole discussion about like anime being mainstream and all that at the end. Just a quick side note. So we'll leave it there. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. As always, I appreciate you and your time, and I hope you enjoyed this segment, and I look forward to seeing you there, as well as in the next segment, which will be out tomorrow, but probably today. Probably tomorrow. Not today. There we go. Anyways, see ya in the comments and in the next one.